Go Beaver! Away!
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Critscast. We are bringing you tonight the Respawn League main Highlander Grand Final. My name is Just Jazz. Joining me on the mic tonight is Luggnuts. Teams Moa and Burnt Pizza are, quite good. So I think we were here the other week too when we watched them in the upper bracket final. We had a great night that night. So hopefully it is also a great night tonight.
I mean, yeah. There was a good game back then, good game hopefully tonight. Some of these map picks have made me dubious, but you know how it is.
I mean, speaking of map picks, Luggnuts, why don't you run us through those picks and bans?
And then Steel picked by Burnt Pizza, ban of Koth Product, and then a pick of Koth Asheville. So, all up together, the maps that we'll be looking at will be PL Borneo, CP Steel, and Koth Asheville.
So I'll run through the roster on Moa. Mithy is the scout, Gus the soldier, and then Peep on pyro, User the demo man extraordinaire, and then on heavy we have Typo, Emma on the engineer coming in for the now banned Papapatui, and we don't want to talk about that guy. He's kind of weird. And then Boo as medic, Cobra on sniper, and he was, like I said last time we watched him, he was popping off, and then Henwy on spy.
Well, I mean, apart from several players having names that I don't quite know how to pronounce, but we'll get through them. We have Beats playing Scout, Unidentified playing Soldier, Sticks on Pyro, Fluoro on Demoman, Spods on Heavy, Doctrine playing Engineer, Zavra on Medic. I don't want to boost. The question mark is not in the name. I just added that one to show my own confusion. Submarine on Sniper and Hydro on Spy.
Well, before we should be getting a ready up here soon. Actually, there we go. Luggnuts if you had to pick one player from both maps, or sorry, from both teams, who do you think would be the standout player?
Well, I've got 1,000 channel points riding on. Oh, sorry, not teams player. Right, I think standout players that we've seen so far from this team, and I'm really looking out for Cobra on Moa. Because he's just been unstoppable so far. His picks have really just swung the way the game has been done so much. User as well, but I'd say mostly my focus on Cobra for this. Sorry, and then on the side of Burnt Pizza, this one's a little bit more difficult because quite a lot of these players do play really solidly. But I'd say if there's one main one I'm looking for, it's going to be Fluoro. If Fluoro can really pull through for his team here, be the solid core needed, not get too separated, then I think it might go a lot easier for them than it did last time we saw this team on this map.
Yeah, we definitely have to agree with that, especially on the side of Cobra. He was so powerful the last time we got to watch him. Was headshot ringing left, right, and center. Of course, that was on product. That wasn't on Borneo, though he did pop off on Borneo too. And then on the other side, I'm actually very interested to see how Sub does with his Asian ping. But we're going to get started. We have gone live. Again, this is Respawn main grand finals from Australia, New Zealand, and both teams just starting to edge this cart up a little bit. No real sacks as of yet, but Sub does take out Cobra, so that'll be the first of many sniper duels to be settled. And then, yeah, they're just
and we're missing the stab on Fluoro.
Oh, tragic. Oh, well, you see in the demo second too with the parachute, but he just gets minced. They do get their Uber forced out though. Xavier gets forced by I don't believe I saw who it was, but now they're full Uber dissad. They do still have their gun up. They're getting a sentry rebuilt. But do you think if you're on the side of Burnt Pizza that you should continue to hold this position, or start to think about how you're going to get out?
Well, I'd definitely be pulling my medic far closer to the point than sort of keeping it around this area, because just a simple trade here would completely demolish your team. But I don't think I'd really think about moving the gun too much, or maybe some other forward players.
Well, the Uber was used out, but it has not gotten anything. The Pyro has managed to leak behind and, doing a bunch of stuff with the detonator, the squirt shot, whatever it is. And they've actually managed to break this hold of where the sentry gun and the rest of the nest was, also taking down Sticks and Hydra dying somewhere along that line too. So this is really good for Moa. They've managed to push up. They've really started to hard pressure this barn They haven't taken it quite yet. There are some traps up on the side of Fluoro, who again isn't Stickyverse anymore, but now they're about to capture the cart, and the first point capped in 1:37, so that's some pretty good time, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the first point is one that can be a little bit tricky to hold, but that's definitely something that I'd be happy with Moa. The real test will see just how fast they can sweep through the second point, and if they can convert that to a third.
Well, while you were talking, Xavier did go down, dropping their Uber, so that's going to put them on a pretty big disadvantage. But the guys on Moa aren't really pressuring the cart as much as they can. There is a gun watching it, though, so that's going to halt any aggression. And BP, despite losing the med, have managed to keep this other barn number 2. They've managed to keep barn number 2, but the Uber actually does come in. And it's just being hard denied by Styx, who's doing great jobs just to stop everything in their tracks. Air Blast is too strong, but they've broken through again. Xavier going down, Doctrine going down as well, so they're not able to rebuild. And again, this seems like another opportunity where it's like, okay, we're just gonna have to give this up.
Yeah, definitely. Respectable hold there from BP. I mean, I do especially like the new gun position they put in this time instead of last time. Good work on their engineer there, but I mean, yeah, just too many players lost, too many crucial players lost, and now it's going to be on to the third. But the important thing here for BP is to make this hold the one that counts, which is going to be tough when they have Uber disadvantage, but even though this first 2 points have gone through relatively quickly, third can change the entire map.
Yeah, well, they're getting their gun set up in this barn number 3. And the gun still is a level 1. User is actually going to go down, good backstab by Hydro, and then Hydro is actually going to get cleaned back up by Typo. But they've managed to get themselves a little bit situated in this barn area, barn number 3. Boo actually did go down. Boo actually gets forced. They're going to take this as a solo on Miffy, flash the heavy and the pyro in. So that's actually taken the gun down and just utterly destroyed this nest. So it looks so promising, but Xavier beats. Once they went down, it was, again, sort of bad news burnt pizza, bad news bear. What do you know what I'm talking about? And now Moa, who that first hold looked pretty good, but they've managed to start steamrolling this cart all the way through, and 3 points in 3 minutes 53 seconds is extremely good time, and they've got a +3 on the cart too, so they just want to get this done as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Moa here, I'd be counting the checks already, but here's the difficult part, is that this fourth point, I feel like I'm a broken record here, but it can all change around. Here's how BP can still win, because this first point can be really, really hard to crack, especially if they don't move immediately, because Zebra almost has Uber charge, going to give them an even Uber hold with the level 3 sentry, could allow them to hold this for a really, really long time.
Well, the Uber has come in, this kind of a solo on the demo. He's not really gotten anything, and it is just Typo trying to get whatever he can. They managed to bring the heavy back into the game, but Xavier has come up on their Uber too, and with Cobra and Miffy down, I think at this point it's just safe to be like, all right, we let's just reset a little bit. We have some really good time on the board. Let's try to just buff up, get another Uber ready, and take another exchange. But really good on the side of BP to hold that. Really good on the side of Xavier not to die, but unidentified does go down in this left barn number 4 area, and Pizza has also gone down. So they really have to be careful. They want to make sure that if they're using their Uber, they're using it on their terms and not as a split-second decision to save the rest of the players.
Definitely. I mean, with that gun going down as well, it's going to be a lot harder to really hold the solid lead. But the frags are going their way, and they still have the full Uber from Xavier, which is just going to buy them even more time on this last point. This is exactly what they want happening right now. If I was Moa, I'd start to be sweating a little bit. However, they do have a good enough time on the first 3 points to really take a couple of cracks at this one.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. Once you have a pretty good time, you can really afford to throw a couple things at the wall before. Oh my God! All right. There we go. Fluro, big stickies. He was listening to us in the pregame, I swear. Dropping Boo, also helping take out User and Typo, and Gus also going down. And Sub getting Cobra. The picks are coming out left, right, and center for Burnt Pizza. So where the beginning of this map started really shaky for them, they've really started to find their feet, find a hold in this map. Best to do it on the last point, I guess, if you're going to find a hold. And every time Moa tries to push in, just the picks don't go their way, and that was, you know, personified. I don't think that's the word I want to look for, but Floro getting the med was top tier stuff, is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. I mean, that's seriously the impact ratio for their team right now. I mean, more plays like that are exactly what they need. They're getting the good damage. They've got a really, really good hold setup. Xavier has been holding this Uber since the dawn of time. I mean, he's seen 16 different evolutions of man holding this last point right now, which is exactly what they want after dropping those first 3 points so quickly. I mean, they can just pull all the time back here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see this last for like another 3-4 minutes.
Now, as a point of curiosity, you know I love aggressive plays. If you are defending your last point, do you ever see there's a useful opportunity to actually? We'll save that question for later. The Uber does come out, but Xavier ends up dropping. So this is super good on the side of Moa. They are just getting all sorts of space. NG's having to sling his gun left, right, and center. And we were talking, it was going so well, and it's all gone poorly in the blink of an eye, really. Moa getting a near full team wipe and finishing their attacking round in 7 minutes and 33 seconds.
You see, that's the aggressive utilization of the caster's curse to make sure you keep winning channel points.
That's
Talk
right.
about just how long the hold's gonna last, so they immediately beef it and drop you.
I was gonna say, you know, kind of silly to ask it now. If you're defending on your last, and you have Uber advantage, do you ever take an aggressive exchange just to like push their team back a little bit and try to get their med, or is it just better just to like really just you know, play tight, play really solid, and just wait for the pushes to come in?
Well, the name of the game is always time if you're holding the last, so the first priority is to make sure that the card is actually watched, because it'd be awful if you use your Uber out and then they just have a couple players behind who push the card over. But as long as you're pretty confident,
it would be funny though.
It would be hilarious. But as long as you're pretty confident that that's covered, in general, no. But if you see a really good opportunity to catch their medic out and kill him, even with using your Uber charge, then that's just more time ball for your team. So if you can go for it, go for it, man.
Well, 7 minutes 33 seconds is the time to beat. We'll see if Burnt Pizza can make it work in their favor. And, you know, just having a quick zoom around the map, pretty standard setup to what we saw last round as well. The gun on that hill spot, all players playing pretty far forward. Floro and Hydro both going down cover with a nice body shot onto Floro. And the Pyro's actually going to jet back in.
Oh my god, did you see that? The soldier used the parachute to get a full charge to countermangler shot off on the sentry gun, disabling it.
I love Highlander. I lied about never liking Highlander. See, that's the type of ingenuity that you can see on a payload map as well. The gun has gone down as well. They still have a dispenser up, so they can again afford to play really tight and really patient and wait for the push to come in. And Booth playing super passive and defensive, standing inside of their dispenser. So this is a pretty good hold on the side of Moa, but there is pretty consistent cart pressure at the moment. And the Uber actually is going to get forced out by Unidentified, who jumps in, gets a couple clean rockets, and all of Moa, their combo, has just decided to back out to barn number 1. One of 4 barns that we talk about.
They need labels on them in game so that everyone knows what we're talking about.
That's right. Yes, exactly whatever Luggnuts just said. So looks like Burnt Pizza are really trying to take this aggressive with Beats running with his medic, and now they're really starting to poke and prod bar number 2, and actually they get forced by the spy. Hamwi, whatever his name is, doing really good to force the med as the spy, and they're not going to get anything with this Uber. This gun is still up. That dispenser has gone down, but they haven't really taken any space inside barn number 2 to make it worth it. Although they have picked up quite a lot of players, I don't know what I'm talking about. So they just need to get this gun down and keep this cart moving. With 5 minutes 30 seconds to get the last couple points on the board, they're doing quite a good job at it. And they also picked up Boo towards the end of that push too. So 60% Uber ad. They need to get set up or ensure that Moa doesn't get set up in barn number 3 and really just continue to steamroll this.
Yeah, it's a situation where as soon as you got Uber, you need to be covering this point as hard as possible. And it looks like they are planning on doing that with just how aggressive they are being in here. I mean, Uber advantage, no gun, set up at level 3 yet. This is looking very good for VP.
And yeah, just trying to poke whatever they can, but they end up using, I don't know if they were forced or it's just like, all right, whatever we'll use. But it's a solo on the demo men, and they've actually managed to cede all of the high ground to back to Moa in favor of getting this cart cap. Probably a risky move considering that heavy is still up on the high ground, shooting bullets down. The demo's on the high ground. They've got a dispenser up too. Maybe a bit of a misplay from Burnt Pizza, but they have gotten the cart quite far, and I mean, now they've got +4, you know, looking maybe to get this last one capped. And with about 4 minutes left to get this last point, they have time to throw a couple things at the wall, but they really have to make sure this counts.
I mean, that push was kind of a looking at the book, not looking at the game type thing. They pushed exactly where they were supposed to, exactly as soon as they were supposed to. Used Uber, arguably exactly when they were supposed to. Just unfortunately forgot to look out for, you know, the enemy team being around, which they exactly weren't. But worked out for them anyway, and now things are looking pretty bad for Moa. However, they do have the Uber advantage, so that is going to give them a bit of time, wiggle room on this last to sort of hold it.
Well, they've managed to take down the gun, and they've managed Beats to push this car up quite far. Somebody needs to drop down on it right now because it is just inches away from being capped, and it looks like they're content to take this as a dry fight just in favor of just trying to get that cart capped that last little bit of the way. But after dropping Doctrine and Sticks and Beats also being down, looks like they're content just to try to play a bit of a spam war. Gus with a big bomb in, taking down the demo men. The Uber's still big Uber advantage for Moa. BP on 60%, so but they've gotten a lot of cap time. You can almost just take an exchange and then use that as a way of I don't know, distracting everybody and get someone on the cart and cap it off. What would you do, Luggnuts?
No, exactly. That's what I'd be planning on doing. Get the exchange going to tie up their combo as much as possible, and then see if I can drop as many people onto the cart to just push it just a little bit over the edge. But things aren't looking too well for Burnt Pizza. They do. I want to point out they did actually have a better time, I'm pretty sure, going into this than Moa did. However, with the amount of pressure they're putting on the cart, it could go either way at this second.
Yeah, I mean, it's I said it was inches, now it's only millimeters, and there we go.
He gets it over.
It's millimeters, and then it's in, and that's going to be BP taking the first map. Not their map pick, by the way, too. Luggnuts, what are you seeing off of these?
They don't call me Luggnuts for nothing. They don't call me Luggnuts at all. What I want to point out first off is the very, very large 452 DPM 16 frags out of Fluoro. CP
Steel, one of the most feared and revered maps in Highlander history.
Steel has it's a attack defend map with 5 different points with a whole manner of different ways of capping them. Don't see a lot of teams pick this map. It's very confusing. Not a lot of people like playing it because it's so confusing.
Wildcard maps, right? Where if you know how to play it well and you know when to pressure and when to rotate and do all the stuff that you got to do in games like these, it can be very unforgiving for teams who aren't quite as comfortable. Really readied up. So we are going to see some CP Steel action. Luggnuts, what do you expect to see besides like soft hold A?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to start with. I mean, what you'll typically see here is a very soft hold from the defending team on A, so the attacking team will just quickly pick up A and then rotate their main combo to try to crack B, which is a pretty tough nut to crack. Now, the interesting thing with Steel is that through A, you can actually get to E, which is the final point, which takes a very long time to cap and has no bridges to get to it. But a good pressure put by the flank, as well as pressure from the combo onto B, can get both points cracked pretty easily. So it just depends on which team we'll see here, putting the right split pressure, you know, whether or not we'll see the defenders overcommit to B, overcommit to E, or somewhere in between.
Yeah, that backwards pressure on Steel is always a bit of the sort of where the wild card comes in for a map like this, where you can, after you capture A, start pressuring E immediately. But we have readied up and we have started the game proper. Cobra picking up sub as the first frag of the game. He does not want to see them any more frags if he can help it, so help him God. Yeah, sort of typical what we expect to see on CP Steel. Teams capturing A, the soft hold has been totally given up on, and now the pressure for B is soon to come out. Interesting that they do have a level 3 in this little tunnel, just trying to get whatever pressure that they can.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm not a fan of offensive sentry gun set level 3s, but Steel is definitely a map you can do it because you have the setup time pre-game. We'll really have to see exactly how much pressure they do put on the other side. Seeing the soldier, killing the spy, and taunting, going down to 6 HP. Going to be a bit rocky there, but the main push seems to be activated on B right now, Jazz.
Yeah, I mean, well, they'll have to be careful because if Gus, Peep, User, Typo, and Henry are all down, leaving just Boo and his engineers, the only players that are up. So BP have done really well in holding this in this early period so far. And, you know, Moa is going to have to figure out a plan sooner rather than later on how they're going to break out of this little hold. Because as it stands, you know, BP has the momentum going into this map. So they have to, if you're on Moa, you really have to make sure that you figure out a way to stall that momentum. And Gus, going down to 13 health, tries to jump in, immediately just stopped by the sentry, full stop. The scouts coming in, the gun's being sapped, so this is going to relieve a little bit of pressure, and they're going to use this as an opportunity to take an Uber exchange. But Gus, Typo, and Miffy have all gone down, and it's just a solo on the Pyro, and the WM1 is too powerful. Fluoro as well, taking out some players, taking out some sentry guns. So again, Fluoro didn't have the best of games last time we watched him, but tonight I think he's playing extremely well and playing very smart for a demo man. Now, if you're on BP, at what point do you decide, okay, let's just rotate our players all to not so much to E, but rotate our players behind and try to go in for some sort of hard flank? Because it looks like that's what they're doing right now.
Well, I mean, I would have chosen to do that as soon as they capped A. They needed their flank to be sorting some hard pressure onto that E area. However, they just weren't contesting that at all. But now they've submitted everyone. Their entire team pretty much has gone through there to try to get a little bit of pressure on E. The problem is they don't have any pressure going on B at the moment. So as soon as the team rotates to deal with this, which they can probably do pretty handedly, then essentially Moa's got nothing out of this.
Where the heck is Boo? Boo's been not healing for 10 years and a day, it looks like, so it's a full Uber disadvantage. Sorry, I spent like 5 minutes clicking around. I'm just like, where the heck is this med? But, you know, Moa, I think it seems like they're sort of content just to really hard pressure this this E point as a way of bringing players back and maybe try to get a few frags, but they've got to be careful because you don't want to spend too much time hard pressuring this and just completely ceding the pressure on B. You know, getting some points is better than no points. Uber does come out though. This is going to be a solo on Floro who picks up User with some well-placed stickies, and now it's just him against the Pyro, but the Pyro is doing a great job at blasting those stickies back. And now finally they're starting to get some pressure on B. But again, the rotation's so slow that they can just come back in and immediately start pressuring on B. So I think if you're Moa, you know, you've really got to start figuring out, like, all right, what the heck are we doing here, man?
Well, I mean, they did execute a pretty good rotation just over there. We saw essentially the worst of it just before, where they managed to get a full frag advantage, still weren't able to do anything with it. But now they've just managed to lower BP into a false insecurity, keeping them a bit too committed on E, so that by the time they rotate, with the Uber advantage, because they got Boo out of it, then they've just been able to clean up B super easily with a lot of frags that should allow them to start snowballing this.
Well, they've done well too to get a lot of players in that sustained period of pressure. But looking at the time that took them to cap A and then cap B, they capped A in 36 seconds. They capped B in 4 minutes 20. Over 3 minutes. So now it's a 4-minute 22-second for 2 points, which you know, if you're BP, like, yeah, you didn't want to give up the point, but you got to be looking at that and saying, like, all right, well, we've gotten a really good bloody time on this at the moment, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, they are going to kind of make up a lot of time by capping C pretty quickly. Now it comes down to crunch time for BP. Can they probably execute a hold on both E and D at the same time? Because remember, as every single point gets capped, E gets easier and easier to cap. As well, with C being capped, it accesses another road of attack into D from behind, which looks like the main combo of Moa is taking at the moment, making this a very difficult position to hold.
Well, they're going to use the Uber straight in just to see what they can get. Floro out of position is going to get denied and then died from that Uber. And they've managed to like bring all this pressure over to B, and I just looked at the time that they've got. 5 minutes, 13 seconds for 3 points, so they really have made up for that lost time, as you said. And now they're getting a lot of pressure onto D, but Hydro coming in, getting 2 big stabs, one on the med, one on the heavy. They managed to stop this D point from being captured for the time being, but now, I mean, you've got players hard pressuring E as well. The scout dancing around, Miffy, you know, doing a lot of jumps and all that stuff, you know what the scout does. So
jumps in, hit the space bar,
yeah.
Stuff.
And then sometimes they die, and sometimes they get big frags. But looks like he's gonna die right there, or it gets killed by the enemy engineer. So Moa again, they did really well to get themselves back into this game. Now at this point, they've got to start asking questions, and asking questions they are, getting a bunch of big frags, the demo, the heavy, the sniper, and then some other ones coming up just right now, but it's going to be Beatson going down, and then it's just a combo of a soldier and a pyro in the med trying to push into D to stop that cap, but it looks like it's going to be too little too late for them. And now the door from spawn to E closes for BP. So if they want to start holding this E point, they've really got to get out there and make it work really quickly. The Uber does come out, a solo on the demo men, and are they going to get out? The med and the demo, they both live somehow, despite being surrounded by 5 or 6 different enemies. But Cobra, sorry, not Cobra. I was going to say Sub doesn't want to give it up, and they've managed to scare off all the guys on Moa from their pressure onto E, giving them just that little bit of reprieve.
This is the danger zone for BP though, because along with the spawn doors now being closed and all 3 bridges connected and the E point time being reduced, also every single time one of them dies, they have a very, very long respawn time. Floro just went down, 17-second respawn time. He's not going to be available for the next fight if Moa moves right now.
Well, they're going to have to start making some moves sooner rather than later, especially now that they have this 4-player advantage with both the sniper and the demo men being down. The soldier and the pyro down as... Excuse me, sorry. The soldier and the pyro down as well. And they're now, again, just getting a bunch of picks all over the board. Boo has to be careful, though. He is in no man's land, and he gets picked up by Beats. But again, there's just a lot of really good pressure coming out from Miffy, who managed to just completely dodge that sniper's the spy's backstab. But then, you know, all these players have gone down, so they've got to move sooner rather than later. Just start getting some more cap time, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to look at the time here and you're starting to really sweat because it's been 7 minutes total and the time just keeps clicking on and on and on. They've got a pretty concerted push at this moment, but they really need to convert this into the point being capped right now.
That's right. As they say in that one song, the time starts ticking and it doesn't stop ticking. Something like that.
Yeah, okay.
It's gonna leave the mumble now. That was horrible.
Sure. Doing us all a favor.
Yeah, exactly. But again, every time the guys on Moa get the frags in their favor, they never manage to take enough forward pressure to make this this player advantage work in their favor. And inevitably, the gun gets set up, and they're finally going to use their Uber in. They have to flash the pyro in. Flash the pyro! They flash the pyro. Sick. Sorry. I'm getting into
delay, Jazz. They can't hear you.
I know. But I mean, with all these frags going in their favor now, they just have to set up shop on this point. It's only spots, and now you got a couple other players that are going to spawn, but they're not going to be in any really good position to start pressuring the point in the way that they need to. A 7x on the cap. Looks like this is going to be done and dusted. Floro trying to go in for some hero pipes, and then Cobra is just like, nah, Zavra, not today. So 9 minutes 56 seconds to capture all 5 points for Moa. BP are going to feel very, very confident after managing to hold them off that long.
Exactly. Now, if I was Moa, I wouldn't be too worried. My Pampers would not be too PP'd in, because at this stage you have to feel like No team is really going to get a good time on Steel unless they've practiced the crap out of it. But that's also why I'd be partly worried, because if BP has actually been scrimming this map and they do know how to play it, then this is a very, very defeatable time for them.
I mean, if you're on MOA, what do you think they need to do to ensure just a long stalemate out?
I mean, you have to
besides
basically
like just not dying.
You just have to hope that the other team doesn't know exactly how to apply pressure on this map, and then basically do what they did to you.
Fair enough. Good answer. Looking at these, so we have gone live. MOA 9 minutes 56 seconds as their cap time on Steel. BP going to feel very confident and looking to beat that sooner rather than later. Cobra getting the first frag on sub, and then User getting Fluoro. So a sniper for sniper and a demo for a demo. Alright, sniper getting the sniper, demo getting the demo, something like that. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you know. But, yeah, so first point has been capped. Typical stuff, you know, soft hold A. And now here comes the real question. Can BP break this hold on second and start steamrolling that across multiple points? They did get the first map, so they do have the map advantage. But they are going to want to make sure that they play really well. Interestingly enough, Doctrine not doing what M did in MOA's push. Instead of having their sentry pushing B, their sentry is actually on A point, trying to get some pressure into this this E area. The Uber actually has been used out though, and it's just really not gone in the way of MOA. This Pyro is doing so much work, just burns Boo to a crisp. And yeah, BP managing to break that hold really, really quickly.
I mean, at this stage, even if BP didn't know how to push this, you know, or sorry, even if they didn't crack that point, absolutely, they still would have had a much better time here. The sentry gun going towards E, their flank winning the flank fight, meant they were set up really well to win that point anyway. But they didn't even need any of that. They just managed to push their combo straight through and cap B very, very quickly, which looks like they're trying to convert into an early C cap as well, and E cap. What?
I mean, you pressure both at the same time, I guess.
Yeah, I saw so many players on the screen over on C, and then E was being captured.
Well, now they're getting C captured, and they've only ticked away 2 minutes off of the time. So this is really, really good on the side of BP. Maybe looking at a reverse sweep again. MOA winning the upper bracket, and then BP coming into the grand final, having won the semifinal and playing really, really well. You can tell that they have scrimmed Steel quite a bit. So this is quite good for them, and now the pressure coming out onto D, the Uber coming out on E, there's stuff going all over the place. Fluoro jumping in to say nope, bombing him, and just tries to get what he can. Manages not to pick up them, but it looks like he is going to pick up the med, who drops? He drops to the melee? Oh my god. What the hell? Come on, dude.
What are we watching?
That...
doesn't even matter at this stage, because all of MOA have basically been killed. D has been capped. There's a level 3 sentry gun on E, and ×5 on the cap.
Why wouldn't you just use?
That requires hitting your right click, right mouse button bound. Jazz.
Oh, bro, kids these days. So with
I played on the team with you, Jazz. You can't talk.
I mean, hey, OzFortress Season 30. Open first placed medic right here, despite not having played the game competitively in 5 months. So, you know, I think I know what I'm talking about.
Alright.
But, so this is going to be the second map going in the favor of BP, who are going to be your Respawn League main Highlander Grand Champions, taking both maps rather convincingly, especially the Steel map. And that's going to be MOA second place, and third place is some other fellas. 545 DPM as the demo man. Call this man the dentist or something, right? Because fluoride, you know, right? All right, anyways.
All right, sure.
I'll see myself out again.
Congrats to Burnt Pizza for winning the grand finals and being the new main champions. And shout out to Kritzcast for covering the match and getting us onto cast. Thanks you, Just Jazz, for co-casting, and Core for being the big man in the sky on production.
Shout outs to Moa and BP for putting on a great game tonight. Great game last week or the week before. But while you're here, we got stuff for you guys to follow. So make sure you follow us on Twitch, because that's where you watch us if you're watching us right now. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well. We post all of our VODs there. You can also subscribe to us on Twitch, and then you can watch the VODs on Twitch. So do that. We also have Twitter, if you have Twitter, so give us a follow on there. Patreon, if you're feeling very generous and want to give us a little bit more money. Would love to see it. Check out our merch as well. But otherwise, you have been tuned into Kritzcast for the Respawn League Highlander Season 8 main grand finals. We watched Burnt Pizza beat Moa 2-0 across Borneo and Steel, and walking out of it deserved grand champions. So a great season from them, great season from everybody, and we will see you all next time.
Hi, old beaver! Away!